Welcome to Best of Biology. Let's start with the topic circulatory system. Circulatory system is also called as cardiovascular system. Cardio means heart and vascular is used to indicate blood vessels. You might be thinking what is happening in this diagram. Let me tell you that by the end of this lecture, circulatory system, you all will be able to explain this diagram to anyone. Our body needs a continuous supply of nutrients like vitamins, minerals, etc., and oxygen. These nutrients and oxygen are supplied to each and every cell of our body via blood. And hence, blood is also known as circulatory fluid as it circulates the nutrients and oxygen in our body. Have you imagined how this circulatory fluid, blood, reaches to every cell? Imagine if we want to supply water to different places located in all four different directions, what will we need? A pump, right? That would push the water through the pipes or channels. Our body works exactly the same way. Our heart is a pump that pushes the blood through the blood vessels and helps the blood to reach every cell of the body. So now we know that our circulatory system is composed of three things: circulatory fluids, that is the blood and lymph. We will discuss lymph later. Second thing is blood vessels. Blood vessels are like channels or pipes through which the blood flows. And circulatory organ, heart. Heart works like a pump that pushes the blood throughout our body. Let us also understand the location of circulatory system in our body. You can see in the picture that the heart is located between two lungs, right? The place where this heart is located is called as mediastinum, and heart rests on the diaphragm. Diaphragm is marked with black outline in the picture. Let us see now what is the need for this circulatory system for our body. First function that circulatory system does is to supply nutrients. Nutrients that are absorbed by our digestive tract like glucose, amino acids, fats, vitamins, etc. are transported via blood to all the other organs of our body. Second function is to circulate oxygen. The continuous supply of oxygen in our body is accomplished by our circulatory system via blood. Hemoglobin in blood binds to the oxygen molecules and circulate oxygen throughout the body. Third function is to remove the waste material. We release the carbon dioxide that is harmful to the cells, right? But carbon dioxide is also a byproduct of many biochemical reactions in our body, and carbon dioxide thus must be removed from them. Blood carries this carbon dioxide along with the other harmful waste materials like lactic acid, urea, uric acid, etc., and transports this blood to liver for detoxification or deamination. This blood is then carried through renal artery to kidneys for final excretion out of the body. Fourth function is to carry hormones. Hormones are secreted by our endocrine glands and are carried via blood to their respective organs for functioning. Fifth function is to maintain homeostasis. Blood regulates the body temperature by releasing or conserving the warmth in our body. This is achieved by vasodilation. Vasodilation means expansion of blood vessels so as to release excess heat out of the body. Vaso means vessels and dilation means expansion. So, expansion of blood vessels. And by vasoconstriction. This is contraction of blood vessels to conserve heat in the body. Sixth function is to maintain pH. Blood maintains the optimum pH, that is 7.4, as it contains carbonic acid, which is an acid that neutralizes all the excess bases in our body, and blood contains bicarbonate ions, which is a base that neutralizes all the excess acids in our body. Let us start with the first part, that is circulatory fluids. We will discuss about blood first. The discussion is divided under some categories so as to make explanation more clear. First is composition. Blood is a fluid connective tissue. It is a fluid, that means it is a both tissue and a fluid. Blood is a tissue because it is a collection of specialized cells that include RBCs, WBCs, and platelets, and these cells are suspended in a liquid matrix called plasma. Plasma is the liquid part of blood. Blood is considered a connective tissue since blood connects all the organ systems by transporting nutrients, gases, etc. in them. Second category is hematopoiesis. Formation of blood is called hematopoiesis and it occurs in bone marrow in adults, while in infants and babies all cells can perform hematopoiesis. Bone marrow is the spongy tissue inside our bones. You can see in the picture all bones in newborn babies have active marrow. That means all the bones are producing blood. But in adults, active marrow is found in spine, hip, shoulder bones, ribs, and skull. Development. Blood develops from the mesoderm germ layer of embryo like any other connective tissue. What does this mean? In an embryo, there are three germinal layers: ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm. All the other body organs develop from these three germinal layers, and our circulatory system is mesodermal in origin. That means circulatory system is developed from mesoderm germ layer of embryo. Last part is blood extraction. If we extract blood out of the body in a test tube, ultracentrifuge it. Ultracentrifuge is a device that rotates the blood at a very high speed. If we ultracentrifuge the blood and leave it overnight, what we will see in the morning? There will be three distinct parts visible in the test tube. The most dense bottom part, which is red in color, shows red blood cells. Red blood cells comprise 45% of whole blood. The less dense middle part, also known as buffy coat, contains white blood cells and platelets. This part comprises of 1% of whole blood, and the top part, which is least dense, is straw colored, contains supernatant fluid plasma, which comprises 55% of whole blood. RBCs form stacks known as Rolex formation. So, the components of blood include cells and plasma. Three types of cells are found in the blood, namely red blood cells or erythrocytes, white blood cells or leukocytes, and platelets or thrombocytes. These cells together are called as formed elements. You can see in the picture the different formed elements of the blood. First is red blood cells or erythrocytes. Erythrocytes or RBCs are 4.5 to 5.5 millions in number in humans. Mature red blood cells are oval, biconcave disc shape with diameter of around 7.5 micrometer. They lack a cell nucleus and most organelles like mitochondria in order to accommodate maximum space for hemoglobin. They can be viewed as sacs of hemoglobin with a plasma membrane as the sac. Approximately 2.4 million new erythrocytes are produced per second in human adults. The cells develop in the bone marrow and circulate for about 120 days in the body, after which they are transferred to the spleen. Spleen for degradation. Spleen is also known as graveyard of RBCs because it causes degradation of the RBCs. Each circulation in our body takes about 60 seconds. Okay, for that is 1 minute. RBCs are red in color due to the presence of pigment hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is composed of two parts: iron part, that is heme, and globin is a protein. The heme part of hemoglobin binds to the oxygen molecules and circulate oxygen throughout the body. Hemoglobin is a tetramer, that is, it is a 4 polypeptide chain, and each heme group thus can bind to 4 oxygen molecules. Right? You can see in the picture the structure of the hemoglobin. Notice that the iron part of hemoglobin binds to the oxygen molecules. Let us discuss the types of hemoglobin. There are mainly four types of hemoglobin. You can see in the table: hemoglobin A1, hemoglobin A2, hemoglobin F, and hemoglobin S. What does they denote? Hemoglobin A1 is 97% of the adults have this type of hemoglobin. It has two subunits, two alpha chains and two beta chains. Their range is from 12 to 16 grams per deciliter of the blood. Hemoglobin A2 has again two alpha and two delta chains. This is around in the 2.5% of the normal adults. 1 to 3% of total hemoglobin is hemoglobin A2. Higher levels of this may indicate thalassemia. Hemoglobin F is the normal fetal hemoglobin. It has two alpha and two gamma chains. 50 to 90% of the total neonates have this type of hemoglobin. Hemoglobin S, the presence of this hemoglobin may indicate sickle cell anemia. White blood cells or leukocytes. These are colorless due to the lack of pigment hemoglobin. They range from 4,000 to 11,000 per microliter of blood. All white blood cells have nuclei, which distinguishes them from the other blood cells, the RBCs that are anucleated and the platelets. WBCs are divided into two broad categories on the basis of their structure. First is granulocytes and second is agranulocytes. Granulocytes are characterized by the presence of granules in their cytoplasm. That means small grain-like structures are found in their cytoplasm. They are also called as polymorphonuclear leukocytes because of the varying shapes of the nucleus. Poly means many, morpha means structure, and nuclear denotes the nucleus. They play an important role in immunity. Granulocytes can be further classified into neutrophils. The most abundant type of granulocytes are the neutrophils. They constitute around 60 to 65% of total WBCs. They form the first line of defense. That means they are the first cells to attack the germs. So, when neutrophils attack germs or whenever we are hurt, neutrophils rapidly accumulate at the site of wound and give rise to appearance of pus. Pus is basically a combination of dead and foreign organisms, WBCs, and cell debris. So, you might have understood what is that yellow brown liquid that forms at the site of wound. That is the pus, and that contains a combination of WBCs and dead foreign organisms. Next is eosinophils. Eosinophils also have the kidney shaped lobed nuclei. They have 2 to 4 lobes. You can see in the picture. They contain receptors that bind to IgE, the antibody that plays a major role in allergies. So, they tend to increase in number during hypersensitivity, hay fever, or other allergies. Remember, eosinophils are the one that increase in number during the allergies. Next is the basophils. Basophil cells are also called as mast cell or plasma cell. They are the least abundant, about 0.5% to 1% of the total WBC. Whenever an infection occurs, mature basophils will be released from the bone marrow and they travel to the site of infection. When basophils are injured, they release histamine, which causes vasodilation. We discussed about this thing. This is the swelling of the blood vessels or expansion of blood vessels. So, what is causing this? Histamine released by the basophils. Serotonin is released due to bring the blood vessels, back to their normal position. That is a process which is known as vasoconstriction, contraction of the blood vessels. It is caused by serotonin. Okay. Basophils also play a significant role in blood clotting by secreting heparin. Heparin is an anticoagulant that removes the clots in blood vessels. The second category, agranulocytes. Agranulocytes or non-granulocytes are also known as mononuclear leukocytes due to the presence of one nuclei in them, and they are noted by the absence of granules in their cytoplasm. That means there are no granules in their cytoplasm. The two types of agranulocytes in blood circulation are: first is lymphocytes. Lymphocytes are much more common in the lymphatic system, and these include the natural killer T cells. The blood has three types of lymphocytes: B cells, T cells, and natural killer cells, or we call them as NK cells, natural killer cells. B lymphocytes are formed and mature in bone marrow, and thus their name is B for bone marrow. They formed and mature in the bone marrow. They make antibodies that bind to the pathogens to cause their destruction. Okay. T lymphocytes mature in thymus, the gland that secrete thymosin. These are crucial to the immune response because they possess a unique memory system which allow them to remember the past foreign invaders, that means the microbes which have attacked earlier in our body, and they prevent the disease when a similar invader is encountered again. Fine. A third type of agranulocyte, the macrophage, though not a third because monocytes only differentiate into macrophages. They are called as macrophages because macro means big and phage means attacking. Macrophage is formed in the tissue and they are very big, so they cannot flow in the blood vessels. Platelets. Platelets comprise of less than 1% of whole blood. They are also called as thrombocytes. Platelets do not have a cell nucleus. They are formed from megakaryocyte and they enter into the blood circulation when there is an injury. They start clumping along with the clotting factors and help in the formation of blood clot, that is the reddish brown lump we see at the site of injury, right? This helps in the preventing excess loss of blood from the body. Let us understand with the help of diagram. See, when there is an injury, blood vessels expand and platelets start releasing from them. This swelling or expansion of blood vessels so as to release the cells out is called as vasodilation. These platelets start clumping at the site of injury. The release of platelets causes the clotting factors to convert the inactive plasma proteins prothrombin and fibrinogen to their active forms thrombin and fibrin. Fibrin forms crisscross network that stucks the RBCs, WBCs and platelets. These are actually the dead and damaged blood cells along with the foreign substance that attacked the body. So understood, the reddish brown lump that is formed at the site of injury, that is the clot. It is composed of damaged and dead formed elements with foreign substance. Let's come to liquid part of the blood, that is plasma. Plasma comprises of 55% of whole blood. It is a straw colored liquid that contains 90 to 92% water and 6 to 8% proteins. Plasma contains three major proteins, namely albumin, globulin and fibrinogen. Albumin maintains the osmotic pressure between the blood vessels and the tissues by displacing the water molecules. Thus, they create a water molecule deficit with the water molecules moving back into the circulatory system. It is thus important in maintaining a balance between the water inside the blood and that in the tissue fluid. Fibrinogens, it has an important role in blood clotting. During clotting mechanism, we saw that fibrinogen converts to fibrin by prothrombin and fibrin forms a crisscross network that stucks the cells along with the germs. Globulins, these proteins work in defense mechanism, that is in the immunity system of our body. Are all these globulins are also called as immunoglobulins. When the clotting factors are taken out of the plasma, it is called as serum. Serum is what? Plasma minus fibrinogens, because fibrinogens were the clotting factors, right? The serum part of the blood carries the antibodies, okay, and antibodies are used by our body to fight against the diseases. You might be knowing about some blood disorders. Let's discuss them. First is anemia. Anemia is the decrease in total amount of RBCs and hemoglobin in the blood, or we can say a lowered ability of blood to carry oxygen is anemia. Mild anemia often shows no symptoms, but severe anemia can cause fatigue, pale skin, and weakness. Second is iron deficiency anemia. Iron is a necessary nutrient for the production of RBCs. Low iron intake is one of the cause of this disease. Iron helps the red blood cells to make hemoglobin. Thus, the lack of iron will cause lack of hemoglobin, and lack of hemoglobin will cause the lack of oxygen. That means less oxygen reaches the body tissues in case of iron deficiency anemia. Third is pernicious anemia, a condition that prevents the body from absorbing enough vitamin B12 in the diet. RBCs do not mature if there is vitamin B12 deficiency. Aplastic anemia. Aplastic anemia is the condition where the bone marrow does not produce enough blood cells, including RBCs, WBCs, and platelets. This can result due to some viral infections or conditions like viral infections like hepatitis, HIV, or due to chemotherapy medications also aplastic anemia occurs. Autoimmune hemolytic anemia. In this case, an overactive immune system destroys the body's own RBCs, causing anemia. Leukemia, it is a type of blood cancer that usually begins in the bone marrow and result in highly abnormal number of blood cells, especially of white blood cells. They may increase, white blood cells may increase to more than 1 lakh in the body. These blood cells are not fully developed and thus are called as blast or leukemia cells. Blood grouping system. There are many blood grouping systems, including more than 30 major and hundreds of minor blood grouping systems. Out of all major, two are the most important ones: ABO blood grouping system and RH system. Other less important ones are Lewis blood grouping system, Duffy and MN blood group system. Let us discuss about the major blood group systems. ABO blood grouping system. A person who has blood group A, his RBCs contain antigen A on their surface. Similarly, the person with blood group B has antigen B on the surface of his RBCs. Blood group A and B, blood group AB has both A and B antigens on the RBC surface, and blood group O has no antigen on the surface of RBC. Whenever our body encounters a certain antigen, it starts producing antibody against it. Thus, the person with antigen A, that is blood group A, has antibody B in its plasma. Blood group B has antibody A in its plasma. Since the blood group O lacks both the antigens, blood group O contains antibodies A and B in their plasma, and the blood group AB has none antibodies. Blood group system ABO is considered as most important because of its clinical importance due to the fact that there is a strong antigen antibody reaction in the body. This strong reaction of antigen antibody is called as agglutination or isoagglutination, the name after which the blood gene was named. Blood gene was named as small I, after isoagglutination. There are some less important blood grouping systems like Amann-Duffy Lewis blood grouping system. They are less important because they show a weak antigen antibody reaction, and thus there is no matching needed before the blood transfusion. RH blood grouping system. It is the second most important blood group system after the ABO blood group system. It was named as RH because of the fact that a similar gene was found in rhesus monkey's blood. A person who has this RH gene present in its blood is considered as Rh positive, denoted by Rh and plus sign, and the person with no Rh gene is considered as Rh negative. Presence of Rh antigen also shows a strong antigen antibody reaction, and thus the person who is Rh positive has antibodies in his body. Since Rh negative person do not produce antibodies, it start producing antibody if injected with the Rh positive blood. This makes it necessary to check for the same Rh blood type before blood transfusion. An example of Rh mismatching is the disease erythroblastosis fetalis. Erythro denotes RBC, blastosis means damage or destruction, and fetalis means fetus. That means the disease is common in fetus, and this disease is also known as hemolytic disease of the newborn because the lysis of blood cells occur in this disease. So babies develop this condition before they are born. It occurs if the mother and baby have different Rh blood types. Rh incompatibility occurs when a Rh negative mother is impregnated by a Rh positive father. The result can be Rh positive baby. In such a case, baby's Rh antigens will be considered as foreign by the mother's cells, and she starts producing antibodies against the Rh antigen of the baby. Actually, the blood from the baby can cross through the placenta at the time of delivery when umbilical cord is cut. This is when mother recognizes baby's Rh positive blood as foreign, and she starts producing antibodies against it. Thus, this does not cause problem during the first pregnancy. Okay, because the mother is recognizing the Rh positive blood at the time of delivery. So baby is delivered. There is no problem during the first pregnancy. These antibodies will attack the blood cells when the mother's antibodies will attack the baby's blood cells when mother becomes pregnant for the second time with the another Rh positive baby. Erythroblastosis fetalis babies may appear swollen, pale, or jaundiced after birth. A doctor may find that the baby has a larger than normal liver or spleen. The baby also has anemia. To diagnose this disease, erythroblastosis fetalis, doctors do blood test, and the preventive treatment is a shot of ROGUM, that is an Rh immunoglobulin which reduces a mother's reaction to baby's Rh positive blood cells. Let us understand about blood transfusion compatibility. Blood compatibility is a match between donor's blood and the recipient's blood. A person with blood group A positive has antigen A and Rh because he is A positive, right? Positive is for Rh. So it can donate to only those with antigen Rh and A, that is to the blood groups A positive and AB positive, while the blood group A negative can donate to A positive, A negative, AB positive and AB since it has no Rh antigen. Similar is the case for blood group B positive and B negative. People with type O negative blood are called as universal donors because they can donate to all and their donated RBCs have no antigens A, B or Rh. The antigens are absent and can therefore be safely given to people of any blood group. Red blood cells from a donor that is O positive can be transfused into patients of four different blood types: A positive, B positive, AB positive, and of course O positive. People with type AB positive blood are universal recipients since they have no antibodies A, B, or Rh in their blood, and thus they can receive blood from a donor of any blood type. Let us learn about another circulatory fluid, that is lymph. I told you earlier there are two circulatory fluids in the body. First is blood and second is the lymph. Let's see what is it. Blood flows from the arterioles into capillaries that exchange the nutrients and gases with the tissues. Capillaries have small gaps called as fenestrae. Blood cells, while passing through capillaries, cannot cross fenestrae. Only plasma fluid can cross through these small gaps. This plasma fluid leaves the capillaries into a space between capillaries and tissues. This space is called as interstitial space, and the plasma fluid in this space is called as lymph. Thus, lymph is called as interstitial fluid or tissue fluid. Lymph contains water, plasma, and some WBCs, especially lymphocytes, which play a major role in immunity. The vessels that collect this lymphatic fluid in their tissues and drain it into the major veins in systemic circulation are called as lymphatic vessels. Network of vessels that collect this interstitial liquid constitute lymphatic system. Lymphatic system thus composed of lymphatic vessels, right? Lymphatic system thus drains the lymph into the major veins for systemic circulation. Lymphatic system has also lymph nodes that check the lymph for the presence of any foreign substance and removes the foreign substances from the lymph. We will learn about blood vessels, different circulatory pathways, and heart in my next video. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel Best of Biology.